air hung thick and heavy, each breath a struggle against an unseen weight. My eyelids, impossibly heavy, finally gave way, plunging me into a slumber as deep and dark as the forest surrounding our old, isolated cabin. This was a retreat, or so my parents had called it, a chance to reconnect with nature, away from the buzzing city. I was 14, perpetually tethered to my phone, and the idea of a week without signal, without even decent Wi-Fi, felt less like a retreat and more like a cruel punishment. The cabin itself was ancient, tucked away in a remote corner of the Canadian wilderness. Local legends whispered of forgotten trappers and restless spirits. Tales my dad, ever the pragmatist, dismissed as campfire stories. My mom, however, a quiet woman with an uncanny sense for unspoken things, had seemed unusually subdued since we arrived. On our third night, a storm rolled in. Rain lashed against the windows, and the wind howled like a hungry wolf. We were playing a board game by the flickering light of a gas lantern, the only source of illumination left after the power went out. The rhythmic drumming of the rain was almost soothing, pulling me closer to the edge of sleep. My eyes drifted, the pieces on the board blurring into indistinct shapes. The last thing I remembered was my dad's booming laugh as he gloated over a victorious move. Until I woke up, the cabin was silent. Not just quiet, but an oppressive, suffocating silence that seemed to absorb all sound. The rain had stopped. The wind had died. Even the crickets, usually a constant symphony, were gone. I sat bolt upright, a prickle of unease crawling up my spine. My parents' bedroom door was ajar, a sliver of darkness visible within. A faint, sweet smell like decaying flowers hung in the air. Then I heard it. A faint scratching, rhythmic and deliberate, coming from somewhere beneath the floorboards. Scratch. Pause. Scratch. Pause. It sounded like fingernails dragging across rough wood. My heart hammered against my ribs. I tried to call out, but my throat was dry, constricted by a sudden, icy fear. The scratching grew louder, moving, seemingly beneath my very bed. I instinctively pulled my legs up, hugging them to my chest. The scent of decaying flowers intensified, now mingled with something else, something metallic, like old blood. Then a voice, a low, guttural whisper, barely audible above the frantic thumping of my own pulse. It was not a human voice. It was a chorus of whispers, overlapping, hissing, and murmuring just beneath the floor. They spoke in no language I recognized, yet the intent was clear, a chilling, malevolent curiosity. The scratching stopped abruptly, and then a single, sharp thump against the floor directly beneath me, as if something heavy had just hit the underside of the cabin. My breath hitched. A small, dark puddle began to seep from the cracks in the floorboards beneath my bed. It was thick and viscous, reflecting the dim moonlight filtering through the window with an unsettling sheen. It was too dark to tell its color, mind screamed one word: blood. The whispering started again, louder now, a cacophony of distorted voices pressing in on me from every direction. It was as if the very air was speaking. The cabin began to creak and groan, not from the wind, but from an unseen pressure, a subtle shift in its ancient frame. My eyes darted around the room, searching for an escape, but the darkness seemed to solidify, pressing in, trapping me. Then one of the whispers detached itself from the chorus, becoming distinct, clearer. It was right beside my ear, cold and intimate. It spoke a single word in perfect, unaccented English, yet laced with an ancient, unbearable malice. Come. The word was not a request. It was a command. And as it hung in the air, echoing not in my ears, but in the deepest parts of my mind, I felt a chilling pull, a profound and undeniable urge to obey, to climb down from my bed, to lie on the floor, and to let whatever was beneath finally have me. My muscles tensed, my body betraying my will. A guttural moan escaped my lips, a sound of pure, unadulterated terror. Then a sudden, blinding flash of light from outside, accompanied by a deafening crash of thunder that shook the entire cabin. The whispers vanished instantly. The smell of decay dissipated. The dark puddle beneath my bed was gone, leaving only the ancient, dusty floorboards. My parents rushed in, flashlights beaming, their faces etched with concern. "Are you all right? The storm's really picked up," my dad exclaimed, his voice cutting through the ringing silence in my ears. I could only stare at them, trembling, unable to speak. They saw the terror in my eyes, but attributed it to the storm. I never told them what happened that night. How could I? How could I explain that the terror wasn't from the storm, but from what came with the silence? Years later, I sometimes still smell that faint, sweet, decaying scent, especially in moments of deep silence. And sometimes, in the darkest hours of the night, when the world is still, I hear it, a faint, insistent scratching, just beneath the surface of everything. And I wonder if the whisper was a command or a promise. I'm Aqeela, and this has been another terrifying case from the Aqeela files. What secrets lurk beneath your floorboards? Don't let the silence fool you. It might be calling for you next. If you dare to listen, subscribe to the Aqeela Files